True with Blue and the charmed ones too on Charm Chats.
Hello!
Hello!
Welcome to Charm Chats with Kendra.
And Kat.
We're on episode 303,
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time,
Indeed.
which y'all should need a reference to understand.
Yes, it's usually how a lot of fairy tales begin, so we're being told right from the start this episode is going to be a bit on the whimsical side.
Mm-hmm. A fairy tale, if you will.
Yep.
But,
Yes. This episode aired on October 19th, 2000. So we are quickly approaching the Halloween episode, but this is not the Halloween episode just yet. That's the next episode.
right. Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, we start with a nice little exterior night shot of P3. There's lots of people lined up to get in.
Yep, there's no now appearing sign.
And I wonder why you mentioned that.
Because I always mention that.
Because you always do. Well, sometimes you mention it with an ulterior motive.
Very true, very true.
Just like the leaves on trees and color of flowers.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But anyway, inside, Piper is tending the bar.
Yep.
She's kind of like done up.
She is a little.
And she's like, her hair in particular is a very, very high ponytail.
Yeah.
There's like clips and shit.
Yeah, there's little butterfly clips that were all the rage in 2000.
And she's got two tendrils hanging on the sides of her face, but they're uneven. Like, they're from different parts of her head.
Yeah.
Which kind of bothered me once I noticed it, but,
But
whatever.
no, because that's how it was, though.
Yeah, but you went symmetrical.
No.
Unless you had, like, a side part.
No.
That was my experience. Like, side part, don't have to be symmetrical. Anything else, symmetrical.
No.
But whatever.
No, you just had to have the tendrils and the butterfly clips. That was, like, all the rage.
Mm-hmm.
She is wearing a brown, sleeveless turtleneck top that had, like, beading on the neck.
It was fine. It wasn't her worst turtleneck.
Yeah. I actually kind of liked it. Like, just the whole look of of her in this moment was
She looked
nice.
quite snazzy.
Yeah.
Quite early aughts snazzy.
Indeed. Leo walks up wearing a blue sweater, and it seems that he's been gone for over a week, and Piper wants a kiss before anything else is said. Blue is in the other room.
As does Blue.
Yeah. He's being lovingly quiet in the other room today, which I'm kind of cool with it.
Yeah.
Like, chill out over there. All is good. So she comes up from behind the bar and they kiss, and then Leo tells her that he has come to say goodbye.
And then we get cued in the fact that it's a dream because his voice starts echoing.
Yeah.
And the camera starts like slowing down.
Yeah, and it gets a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And it tilts and like stretches. And
Yeah,
it progressively gets more like light special effecty.
Yeah.
But yeah, he starts telling her that she has to forget about him, and he kind of backs away from her. But as his voice is starting to echo more, it's also starting to like fade away.
Yeah, she says that she can't hear him, and then he mouths the words, "I love you."
And I cracked up because it was kind of a cheesy like
I love
thing
it.
to do,
Just a
especially
titch.
once you're adding the echoing, the stretch and pull of the camera, and the tilting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god, it was just, the mouthing was a little too much for me, and it slipped it over into comical.
Yeah, just a little bit. But then he orbs out, and then, like, in front of everyone, he just orbs out, and everybody stops dancing to look at Piper. So if you didn't already know it was a dream,
Mm-hmm.
she's calling out for Leo, and then the vision gets all wonky, and everything seems to go a bit sideways.
Yeah, they up all the special effects from here.
Yeah, and when Prue comes up wearing a white spaghetti strap dress, she's got like delicate flower detail on it, and there's beaded feathers in her hair.
Yeah.
And she grabs Piper and like shakes her and tells her to wake up.
So you know it's a dream.
Yeah, and we crash cut to Piper's bedroom, and Prue's there. Piper wakes up with a gasp.
They both have their hair down.
Yeah, and Prue has like some sort of flower decoration in her hair. So I always find it weird when TV shows depict people with long hair going to sleep with their hair down.
I do that if I've just washed it.
I don't think I have ever gone to sleep with my hair down when it's longer than shoulder length. Like, how do you not wake up with it just being a tangled mess?
10% luck, 50% skill, 15% concentrated power of will. How's that song go?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the percentages are, but
Don't know. The other thing was that Piper is also wearing a watch and a beaded bracelet. Now,
who the fuck goes to sleep with those on?
jewelry on? Like, I mean, the watch makes a little bit of sense because I sleep with my Fitbit on. But that's because
It's a
Fitbit.
Yeah.
Like, it's meant to be slept with. But, like, who goes to sleep with a bracelet on? Now, to be fair, I did when I was a kid. I used to sleep with a ring on until I got told a lovely, scary story, quote unquote, by my grandfather, which involved somebody being buried alive because the ring that they had been wearing cut off the circulation. And so they supposedly died in their sleep and they got buried and then grave robbers came and took the ring and they woke up. It's a whole weird story thing, but it got me to stop sleeping with a ring on.
yeah, that's definitely urban myth material.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was totally a scary story.
Like, the
to
most
get me to
that'll
stop
happen
sleeping
is
with a
your
ring.
finger will turn gangrenous.
Oh yeah.
That's the absolute most, and that'll take, like, days.
Yeah. Anyway.
At which point you'll be awake. Plus, once you're asleep, like, swelling of stuff goes down.
Yeah.
It's more likely to slip off in your sleep than it is to cut off your circulation.
Very true.
But anyway,
So
Piper
she
starts crying and
Yeah.
saying that Leo's not coming back.
Prue tries telling her that it was just a bad dream, but Piper
of
knows
course, is
it's
like,
real
yeah.
because it's Leo. And she wonders if destroying lives is how they amuse themselves, meaning the people upstairs.
Yeah, and Prue kind of tries to shush her and be like, "Hey, don't talk like that. You shouldn't say anything. They can hear."
Yeah, and Piper's like, I don't think they can hurt me more than they already have.
Yeah.
And then they hug, and we cut over to Phoebe in Prue's car. She is wearing what looks to be a long-sleeve blue hoodie over a black shirt, and her hair is down and wavy with, like, a single braid where the fringe would be if she had it, like, right at the top of her forehead.
Yeah.
And it was such an odd placement. It kind of made me think of people who go to, like, the Caribbean or stuff on vacation and they get
I did that.
one braid.
Oh, I didn't get the one braid. I got my entire head except the bangs, but I was 7, so...
Well, there you go.
Actually, no, I was 6.
Yeah.
This was back in 97 when the total eclipse was happening over the Caribbean, and my dad was a member at the Adler Planetarium, so we went on a cruise down there.
Neat.
It was fun.
That sounds
Went to
awesome.
Mexico.
That sounds awesome. No, the only thing
I
that
had
I
vodka.
know at 6, at 7,
It was an accident. For some reason, they just had a shot glass of vodka on the tables, like at every place, and I thought it was water. That was also when Zach locked us out of our room,
Well then.
and he wouldn't wake up. And then the next morning, he's like, "I had a really loud dream last night." No shit.
Yeah. Children. But yeah, no, I went to Grand Cayman as you survived cancer, go on this lovely trip kind of trip. And when we went, my hair was only about 1.5 inches, like 2 inches long at the most. And I got a single braid because it was like $3 a braid. And I'm like, I'm not going to do my
It's
entire
cheaper
head.
if you do the entire head, yeah. But...
Yeah, but I'm like, I'm not going to do my entire head. I just want to get like the one like little thing. And I got it in the top center of my head. Let me tell you, stupidest place to put it. Yeah, stupidest place to put it because like anytime I went to like brush my hair or do anything, I had this braid sticking out of it. And I'm like, but I have to keep it. I paid $3 for it. You know, I think I kept that little tiny stupid braid in for at least 3 days.
Yeah. I don't know how long I had mine. It was a couple of weeks at least.
Well, yeah, if you do your entire head, that makes sense. But a single braid.
I was dangerous because the beads at the end.
Oh, man.
Oh, Zach had so many bruises on his face. Whenever he pissed me off.
Let me just whack you with my hair. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Indeed. Anyway, so Phoebe's listening to the stereo when her phone rings, and she answers it to Prue.
And then we kind of cut back and forth in the call between Phoebe and Prue. And we can see that Prue is, wearing that white spaghetti strap top that was in
No, it's a slightly different one.
Wow,
Yeah.
they went all out with the wardrobe here.
Yeah. It is still a white spaghetti strap top, but this one has a lace flower detail on it as opposed to an inlay flower detail on it.
Huh.
It was a different top.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
It's very similar, but not the same.
Yeah. Phoebe is apparently really enjoying having a cell phone now.
Yeah.
And she thinks Prue is calling to lament about the fact that Phoebe has borrowed her car.
and is not home yet.
Yes.
But Prue tells her that Piper's having a bad dream about Leo, and she's, worried about her. And Phoebe starts to ask what the dream was about, but then she slams on the brakes to avoid a little girl standing in the middle of the road.
And she kind of hurriedly tells Prue that everything is fine, the car is fine, now bye, and hangs up. And then she gets out of the car and runs over to the girl. Now, this little girl, she looks really dirty.
Yeah, she's clutching a small box.
Like a small jewelry box, the kind that you open and there's a little tiny spinning ballerina that plays music.
Yeah, that type. And so she looks to be wearing like a long dress or possibly a nightgown under a pink jacket.
Like puffy pink jacket.
Yeah. With white shoes or like slippers, and she has long brown hair.
Like kind of really light brown, the kind that's practically blonde.
Yeah, but it's like stupid long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like down to her butt long.
Mm-hmm. Which, when you're that small, is easier to do.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted my hair to grow that long so bad, and it just would not. I'm still kind of mad about it. But now my hair is starting to get that long, and I'm going, I just want to cut it all off.
Yeah.
Because it's just getting a little bit too long for me now.
A little bit. But, when you have a parent to take care of it for you, it's less of an issue.
Exactly.
Anyway, this little girl is yelling at absolutely nothing, at least that we can see.
Yep.
And she yells that she won't give them it.
Yeah, which we're assuming is the box that she's holding.
And Phoebe turns around to kind of look wherever the girl is yelling, but she doesn't see anything, and the girl uses that opportunity to zoom away into the trees.
Yeah, she runs away. Phoebe, of course, runs after her, and then the girl seemingly trips over nothing, and we hear some voices, and something invisible rips at the arm of her jacket and scratches her arm, and the scratches look like 3 claw marks.
Yeah, she screams, and Phoebe finally catches up to her.
Yeah.
And
so now we can see that she's wearing black pants with her black top and blue hoodie. And so she kneels down next to the girl and she holds her and she tells her that she's safe. And we go to the opening credits. So I do believe that this is the first time in a while, at least, but I'm assuming the first time that we come back from the opening credits and we have no filler shots at all.
Possibly.
So there's no like post-credit song because it's just boom right back into the action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we're immediately back in the kitchen at the manor, and Phoebe, now without hoodie.
Yeah, we can now see that the black shirt that she had underneath has a colorful applique on the bust.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool looking.
Very college girl.
Yeah.
Anyway, she brings the little girl, who we can see is totally dirty now, even if she wasn't before.
Yep.
And she's just like wrapped in a blanket, sitting at the kitchen table, and she brings her a hot drink and a bowl of cookies.
Yeah, not a plate of cookies.
A
bowl of cookies.
Like a bowl of the type of cookies you get out of a bag, like Pepperidge Farm.
Yeah.
Type cookies.
Yeah.
And Prue and Piper come walking in.
Prue is in that white top again with blue pajama bottoms, and she's wearing a brown robe with blue trim and a red line detail. It was kind of a cool looking robe, I will have to say. Piper is in a pink top, gray plaid pajama bottoms, and a blue robe, and she's wearing that little diamond necklace.
Mm-hmm. And we learn that the girl apparently lives just up the street, so Phoebe was literally not that far from home, and her parents are already on their way over.
Yeah, Phoebe says that she's going to go get the girl's jacket from the car, and then when seeing the empty hooks on the wall behind her, she looks to Prue for the keys.
And Prue's like, dude, I don't have them. And the little girl pipes up to say that the fairies probably hid them.
Yeah. Phoebe, of course, questions her. She tries to deflect, saying she's not supposed to talk about them. And then Phoebe gets her to open up by saying, you can tell us anything. We have a lot of weird secrets in this house.
Yeah.
And the girl says that fairies are tricky and they like to hide things.
And just as she's asking the little girl if she's protecting a fairy in that box she's holding, the doorbell rings.
Yeah. Prue goes to answer it. Piper says that it's probably the girl's mom and dad, and the girl says that he's not her dad, just her mom's new husband. Now, the way that particular line was said...
It sounded a little more indicative of something that's not going to happen in this episode. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it sounded like they were setting up the stepdad to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And that's not what happens. But it makes you think for a moment that it could. And I'm actually kind of glad that it didn't.
Yeah.
Because if it had, then it would have been completely stereotypical and like, oh, look, they set him up to be a bad guy. Hey, look, he's the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm glad that it didn't go that way.
Yeah.
It isn't formulaic.
Yeah.
And that made me actually really happy. Because I had forgotten about this episode. I will be completely honest with you. I had completely forgotten about this episode.
I only remember it because of the antics the girls do later.
Mm.
Because that was some fun shit. Anyway, we cut to the foyer as Prue opens the door. There is a kind of strawberry blonde woman in a white sweater.
Mm-hmm. She's wearing a white sweater over a blue turtleneck with dark plaid pants. Because, of course.
Uh-huh.
Why wouldn't they be plaid? I mean, seriously.
She's skinny. She's a clothes horse.
Yeah. And a man in a blue gingham button-down shirt and dark brownish-gray pants under a tan jacket are standing at the door. And we learn that the little girl's name is Kate. So now I can tell you about the actress, now that the character has a name.
Hoot hoot.
Her name is Rachel David. She's apparently a Canadian actress. She only has 11 acting credits so far, starting in 1998, and it does look like she's still acting at this time. She did take a bit of a break between 2002 and 2014, though. And right before this episode, she was on 21 episodes of a TV show that I have never heard called Movie Stars, which starred Harry Hamlin.
That's extremely vague.
Yeah. I will link to the IMDb on the website just because, as well as what seems to be Rachel's personal YouTube channel. She seems to be making all sorts of, like, random videos, and she has, like, 18K subscribers.
No one ever says 18K.
I do. I'm weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very...
Unless they're talking about money.
Yeah. It's just interesting to me that, like, she has a YouTube career now. And it's like, good for you. That's kind of cool.
It can go the opposite direction. Why can't it go this direction?
Exactly. So the parents are played by Nancy Everhard and Tony Carrero. Nancy was born in Ohio in 1957. She started acting in 1982, but she hasn't done anything since 2006. Some people might recognize her as Kay Lockman from the 1991 show Reasonable Doubts, and as Catherine Ness from the 1993 show The Untouchables, or as Sharon Hart on the 2002 show Everwood. I actually recognized her from a couple of episodes of The Pretender that she was in just before this episode of Charmed. But that's because The Pretender. My two favorite shows, Leverage and The Pretender. Tony was born in New York in 1954. He started acting in 1986 and was doing a lot of single episodes of shows until 2003. He had a single movie role in 2006 and a short film in 2015. And he was also on a single episode of The Pretender a year before Nancy was.
Oh,
so
serendipity.
Yep.
Anyway, Prue assures them that Kate is fine. She's a little scraped up and a bit scared. And then Piper, Phoebe, and Kate come in from the foyer. And Kate immediately sees her parents and tells them to get out of the in-between. Get out of the doorway.
Yeah, and they do.
But with an eye roll.
Mm-hmm. And we can now see that Kate indeed is wearing a nightgown that has little flowers all over it and, like, ruffles as detail. And I swear I owned that nightgown.
Yeah, I was never a nightgown type of kid.
I was when I was, like, 7 and 8, that sort of thing. Like, and then I was like, oh, t-shirts, they're much more comfortable.
Yeah.
But I am, like, 85% sure that I owned that nightgown as a kid. She also has a long gold chain around her neck.
And it stands out a little bit.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. Phoebe asks her what an in-between is.
And Kate says, that's where the trolls are.
And so Kate's mom goes on a little bit of exposition-y shit. And tells her that Kate has regressed back to the imaginary friend stage of life since she got divorced. And the stepdad's like, hey, let's go.
Yeah. Kate is, of course, worried about the trolls. He tries to reassure her, and he picks her up.
And then we're shown an image of a tiny little troll clinging to the door frame. Yeah. And they've got some scary makeup on.
Yeah, kind of purple-faced.
Purple-faced, slight prosthetic for making a bulbous nose and furrowed brows, and they've got, like, teeth.
Yeah.
And they're wearing tiny little medievalish clothing.
Yeah. When Kate calls it out, Phoebe tries to see what she's seeing, but she can't see anything. And then Kate gets carried out the door with thanks from her mom, and then we see the troll again as they leave. Now because we see more than one troll in this episode. None of them get an IMDb credit.
Aww.
And that really made me mad.
Yeah.
And a bit sad.
I hope their union made them get paid well.
Yeah. It was one of those where, like, I looked, and I'm like, they're not even in there as uncredited, so I have no idea who they are. Mm-hmm. And that upsets me.
Yeah. I remember the Ewoks in the original Star Wars trilogy. There's a union for little actors. They almost staged a walkout Because I guess there's some issue where they wanted stunt people to play more of the stuff instead of them or something. I don't know. I don't exactly remember it, but they won, so
Yay.
Go little people.
Yep.
Go Ewoks.
Yay.
I don't care that most people hate you. I love the Ewoks.
Anyway, so we head to the kitchen where Piper is putting on a kettle to boil. Piper wonders why Phoebe believes in the fairy tale stuff.
Makes a crack about Santa.
Yeah.
And Phoebe's like...
telling her the truth about Santa.
Yeah, and Phoebe's very determined. She's like, no, I know Kate got attacked by something. Like, those weren't just scratches. They were claw marks,
Yeah.
Piper.
Piper asks why she's being so stubborn.
Phoebe
and Phoebe
says because she's a Scorpio.
Yeah. So, seeing as she's supposed to be born on November 2nd, she would be a Scorpio. So that tracks.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Remember that I brought that up.
Yeah.
Prue says that it's getting kind of late. Phoebe jokes that Prue has become the middle child.
Yeah. And Piper's like, well, since Kate's mom said that the problem started when her father left, the issue is psychology, not magic.
Yeah. And Phoebe says that she's going to go check the Book of Shadows just in case.
Because she doesn't want to get out-stubborned by a Gemini.
Yeah, and she leaves as the kettle starts to whistle. Now, here's where we get an issue. Who does she think is the Gemini? Because Gemini is between May 20th and June 21st.
Funnily enough, Piper was born on August 7th, which would make her a Leo.
Yes, exactly. So Piper's not the Gemini. And if she's trying to say that Prue is a Gemini, she's also wrong because Prue was born October 28th, which would make her yet another Scorpio.
They probably were just looking at the descriptions of the various astrology things and were like, who else is stubborn?
Yeah, it annoyed me just a little bit. I'm not going to tangent on it.
Technically what Phoebe said wasn't wrong. Technically. She doesn't want to be outstubborned by a Gemini. Doesn't matter that there's not a Gemini in the house.
True.
It could be a true statement.
True.
Just completely irrelevant.
Yes. So I'm not going to tangent on it, but I will, of course, link to the wiki for astrological signs because it's a fascinating read if you're into that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I am not because I am a Virgo.
We get an exterior night shot of a big white house with lots of windows and balconies, and this is apparently Kate's house as we find ourselves in her room with her mom kissing her goodnight. Mom has removed her white sweater, and Kate has changed into a blue nightgown, so she's still wearing the necklace, and her hair is still down.
But she's had a bath.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, and her room seems to be fish-themed.
A little bit. She's got, like, some paper fish hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah,
and there's streamers. It's a very cute little room.
It's definitely what I lovingly say is the room of a rich kid. Like, when I was a kid, there was no theme to my bedroom. Like, I lived in an apartment. We weren't allowed to paint the walls, put up, like, posters. Like, we couldn't do any of that sort of crap.
Yeah, and when I was little, my room was the tiniest. It was basically an oversized closet with a closet. It was barely wide enough to fit my bunk bed. It was literally the width of a twin bed and not much longer. It was fucking tiny. And then we moved and basically, like, the room was painted, but, you know, couldn't hang anything because stucco walls.
Yeah.
Which is why now I hang posters fucking everywhere because I can.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Colin's like, I love walking through your rooms because everywhere you look, there's something to stimulate the eye.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, that's how I like it.
Yep. It's very colorful in here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Mom goes to turn the lights off, but Kate, like, jumps up and she's like, no, don't. They're in the tweens. They come out of the shadows. Yeah. And Mom just is like, dude, go to bed.
Yeah, she
and just shuts it off and shuts the door.
Yeah, and she did have a little nightlight next to the bed that looked like fish swimming around.
Yeah.
But that, you know, creates shadows. So Kate sits on her bed. She's still holding onto the box, telling whatever's in the room with her to go away and leave them alone. And there are, like, noises and things move around in the bedroom, and we're shown some creepy-looking things like shadows of branches outside the window and a Garfield wall clock.
Which is super creepy.
Let me tell you, if you were not creeped out by that clock, you did not grow up in the 90s, because the tail swings and the eyes move, and it's just horribly distressing.
Mm-hmm. It's like one of those paintings in a Scooby-Doo show.
Yeah, just Google Garfield wall clock.
And be warned.
Yeah, it's not a good look. It's not
really
fun.
not.
The door opens, she screams.
And we cut to the exterior shot of the manor the next day.
Yeah. In the attic, Phoebe is sitting on the floor reading a book when Prue walks in. Phoebe is in red pants, and a silky pink shirt with a large flower on the front with a slit down the center.
Like a vertical boob window.
Yeah, a little bit. And she
vertical boob slit, I guess.
Yeah. And she has a pink bandana with small flowers on it in her hair, and her hair is in pigtail braids.
Very cute.
Super adorable.
Very cute.
Prue is in white pants and a mint green top that has...
Very light mint green.
Yeah, that has very flimsy spaghetti straps and what looks like a lacy blue bra underneath because we can see the straps.
Mm-hmm.
Her hair is down, it's slightly wavy, and she's wearing a beaded necklace
with a
beaded pendant. Yeah, it was like wavy and curly at the same time. It was very weird.
I like her hair.
It wasn't bad. It was just weird looking.
I like her hair when she does this to it.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Anyway, Phoebe hands her some drawings of Lily, the imaginary fairy friend that they had as kids.
Prue says that she hasn't thought about Lily in years, and Phoebe's like, yeah, that's because you grew up and stopped seeing her.
Yeah. She reads from a book called The Enchanted Realm, that fairies, elves, and trolls are mystical creatures that live in a realm parallel to ours but separated by a thin veil, which lives only in tween places.
So, where you have children who are pre-adolescents.
Different kind of tween. This is short for in between.
So is tween.
Yes, I am aware. Different kind of tween. She says that
and
doorways...
Yet the same.
She says that doorways, windows, and shadows are all tween places.
Prue says that Kate wasn't in a tween place when Phoebe found her, but Phoebe refutes it by saying that during midnight, the world becomes a tween place.
Yeah, because it is the biggest tween of all.
Uh-huh. It'll be a nightmare when it hits 13.
Yep.
Billion.
Anyway... Prue asks why there isn't anything in the Book of Shadows.
And Phoebe's like, 'cause it was written by adults, you dummy.
Yeah. Prue wonders why trolls are after Kate, and Phoebe says that they'll have to ask her.
We hear the phone ring from downstairs, and they both agree to keep Piper's mind off Leo by having her help.
Yeah. Piper calls up from downstairs that the call is for Phoebe.
So Phoebe naturally hightails it downstairs, holding on to these drawings that she snatched back from Prue.
Yeah, she legit snatched them from her. Like she grabbed them right out of her hand.
And we learn that apparently Cole is on the phone because Piper calls him Phoebe's little lawyer boyfriend.
Yeah.
And so Phoebe hands her the drawings, takes the phone.
She hands her the drawings and says, "So there," which was just so sisterly. It was
great.
And
then and takes the phone from Piper and tells her, "No, he's not my boyfriend." And then puts the phone up to her ear. And Cole's like, "Wait, who's not your boyfriend?"
And Phoebe tries to play it off that Piper likes to tease her about the mailman.
Yeah, she was reasonably quick on the uptake with that one.
Yeah, it wasn't
like
bad.
There wasn't much of a pause, but it was clearly false.
Yeah. We cut over to Cole in what I'm assuming is his office. He is in a gray suit. Mm-hmm. Phoebe asks how he is, and he says something about a beautiful morning and a beautiful woman.
And then kind of laughs to himself, and he's like, oh my god, I sound like Billy Appleby. And so Phoebe just stops, and she's like, wait, what?
And he tries to deflect, but she asks again.
And then in his office, we see his finger run down a piece of paper that's clearly like a printout of intel he's got on Phoebe.
Yeah.
And it goes down to like favorite movies.
Yep. And he says that Billy Appleby is a hokey guy from an old movie he watched too much as a kid. And then they both say the title of the movie, Kill It Before It Dies, at the same time.
Which is a lovely callback to episode 218, chick flick.
Yep.
Watch it, people.
Yes. Other favorite items listed on that page are favorite art, Birth of Venus by
Sandro Botticelli.
Yeah, Botticelli. Favorite book is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. And favorite song is Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve, which is a lovely callback to season 1.
Yes. Also listed on that page, power, to see the future and or past. Mm-hmm. Occupation, student, San Francisco Community College.
Yep.
And then a long list of previous employment, which is great.
I love the previous employment. Catering, Quake Restaurant, Realty Assistant, Fortune Teller, Buckland's Auction House, and Convalescent Hospital Worker.
And it's really impressive because at least 3 of these only existed for like a day.
Mm-hmm. Like the Bucklands thing.
The Bucklands thing, the Fortune Teller, and the Realty Assistant at SWA.
Yeah.
Those were like day-long jobs.
Yeah, they were like...
She was probably never officially on the books. I don't know where he got his information, but I'm like, oh, damn, they're good.
Yeah.
Well, he got his information from writers, obviously,
well,
but, you know. In universe, this is impressive.
He got his information from evil. I mean, come on.
In universe, this is impressive, though.
Yes.
Fears. He lists their fears, which is just great.
And I love how the 2 fears that are listed is losing one of her sisters.
And elevators.
Uh-huh. It also has her vulnerability, which is susceptible to possession by evil forces.
How would they know that?
Because she's been possessed by the Wookiee Man.
Yeah, but he's locked away. Like, I want to know. Because, okay, so, like, demons get vanquished and they go away. Like, they can't come back anywhere, presumably. Mm-hmm. So, like, who did they not vanquish correctly that managed to tell them this shit?
Well, you know,
this is impressive levels of information in universe, anyway.
Yeah.
And then it lists her hobbies, which are martial arts, arts and crafts, and surfing the internet.
Yes. And I just love that. It was so stupidly perfect. You know?
It's a great character sheet. Like, if you were inventing a character, this is all the kind of shit you'd list.
Yeah. So there's a bit more flirting before he asks her out for that night, saying he can stop by the house. And he turns the page in his little dossier, and we see a map of the manor attic and where the Book of Shadows is in the attic. It's like circled big in the middle of the attic.
Good fucking intel.
Yeah. We cut back to Phoebe as Prue comes down the stairs and sees Piper putting on a gray coat.
And she waves at Phoebe and motions her to hurry up to get off the phone. So Phoebe ramps up the speed of her dialogue, and she's like, no, tonight isn't good. Piper's going through some stuff. I'll call you later. Meet at the club. Bye.
Yeah. Prue kind of snatches the phone from Phoebe and hangs it up. And we see Cole close the folder that seems to be crammed full of more paper than it should be used for. And he looks a little angry and annoyed.
And I think this was the point at which I noticed the bottom of the handset on his phone has this weird shaped plug. Like, it's way too big. Because normally you just have that little square thing that just goes into the bottom if you have anything attaching to it.
For offices, it's usually a more secure
That was
thing,
my thought. It looked like a wiretapping device.
Yeah, no, because if you're talking about the office phone, that's usually what it is in an office, especially back in 2000. The phone would have a much chunkier connection point because it made it more secure so that it wouldn't accidentally fall out when you were in the middle of a call.
That tracks.
Yeah. So he waves his hand over the dossier and it disappears with a bit of white light. Mm-hmm. And the imagery on the cover of the book kind of glows.
Yeah.
It was a nice little way of showing off.
It was like a really slow motion flash disappear sort of effect. But anyway.
Back at the house.
Piper has changed into the completely most nondescript outfit she has ever fucking worn.
Yeah, it was a gray sweater and jeans, and she pulled her hair into a ponytail. She grabs her keys. Her sisters run up to her asking about the drawings, and Piper says that they're cute. But Phoebe tells her that the drawings are proof that fairies exist.
And if Piper tries to walk around them, they try locking her from the door, and she's like, no, the only thing this proves is that one of us had a really fertile imagination, and the other two were really big copycats.
Yeah. Prue tells Piper that Kate is in trouble, the kind of trouble that only they can help with, and Piper says that she's really not at all motivated to help after everything that they've put her through with Leo.
She tells them that they can do whatever they want, but she's done.
Yeah, Prue asks what she means by that, and we finally get the phrase that I've been waiting for, the powers that be.
And this is the thing that they use forevermore to refer to
them. Yeah. Piper says that the powers that be have done nothing but ruin her life, so she's done working for them. And she literally pushes through her sisters and leaves. And Phoebe says that Piper is on strike.
Yep.
Which just, it made me laugh, because to be a strike, it actually has to be more than just one person.
Yeah, you gotta have a union.
Yeah.
Maybe a union of 3?
It has to be at least more than one person, because it is a strike is considered most of the workforce not working.
Would a third of the workforce count as most? Probably not.
Probably not, but it would still kind of count, I'm assuming, for the purposes of striking. But it's
for the purposes of the power of 3.
Yeah, a good portion of the workforce not working is considered a strike. Anyway, so we have a jump cut to the drawing of trolls being colored.
Like, really nice drawing, too.
Yeah, like, this kid is a really good artist.
She's got a good eye.
Yeah.
Or whoever drew it first got a good eye.
Yeah. We see Kate is in her room. She is wearing a white shirt that's like long sleeved with what I think is supposed to be a ladybug on it.
Mm-hmm.
She's still got that gold necklace and her hair is still down, but there's now a little clip in it.
Holding it back from her face.
Yeah.
It's like 3 little rhinestones or something.
Yeah. And the box is on the table in front of her. And there's a knock on the door, and her stepdad walks in. He's wearing shades of gray. And he's followed by Prue and Phoebe. Phoebe has added a shiny black vest to her outfit, and Prue has added a denim jacket to hers. Prue is holding the drawings and Kate's coat, and she says that they needed to use the spare key to get into the car because it seems that the fairies really did hide the keys.
Mm-hmm. Phoebe asks what Kate is drawing, and Prue mentions that it looks a lot like theirs, and she kind of shows her the drawing that she's holding. And Kate's like, "That's a fairy and a troll!" Immediately is like buying into the fact that they believe her.
Yeah. Prue says that they believe that she's not making them up, and that they need to know everything they can so that they can actually help.
And we learn that, everything Kate knows, she has learned from a little fairy princess named Thistle, who had been kidnapped by trolls that she saved.
Yeah.
Apparently fairies don't talk the same way people do.
Yeah, which I'm assuming is because they're so tiny.
Yeah.
It's literally the only thing I can think of. Is it's because they're so tiny you can't really hear their voices.
Yes. But apparently fairies are the bosses of the Enchanted Kingdom, but the trolls really wanted to be. And so they kidnapped Thistle to hold her as ransom so her parents would hand over the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, that's not how that works, trollies.
No, it ain't.
No, it ain't.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Now the trolls are mad because Kate staged the escape, and won't give Thistle back.
Yeah. And that most of the time she can stay out of the in-between spaces, but at midnight there's nowhere to hide.
Mm-hmm. Prue asks if they can see Thistle, but Kate's like, no, only children can see fairies.
And Phoebe says that they're very in touch with their inner children.
And Prue's like, can we at least try?
So Kate says that they have to go into an in-between and warns them to watch out for trolls. And then she unlocks the box with the key hanging from the gold chain around her neck. And she sets the box down on a windowsill, looks around for trolls, and then opens the lid of the box. Prue and Phoebe don't see Thistle, so Kate shuts the lid and says that they can't help if they can't see her. And then she holds the closed box next to her ear and listens.
And then she tells them that Thistle says if they really believe in fairies, there's something that'll make them innocent again so they can see them.
Yeah. Kate then opens the lid, grabs a handful of something, and throws it at Prue and Phoebe.
And then we get some really good drunk high acting because they turn to each other and they both start giggling incessantly.
Yeah.
So apparently the fairy dust worked.
Yep.
Kate puts the box back on the windowsill, opens it again, and we see a tiny little girl in a poofy pink dress and a pink veil fly out of the box.
Yep.
And I recognized her.
Did you?
I did. I recognized her immediately. But before we get to that, we just see a shot of Prue and Phoebe staring at this fairy with their eyes and mouths wide open.
Yep.
And we cut to commercial break.
So,
and when we come back, let me tell you where I recognize this girl from, because she was a recurring character on Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
So Thistle is played by Scout Taylor Compton. That is a hyphenated name. She was born in 1989, and she's been going since 1998. She's still doing a lot of stuff. She was on at least 4 episodes of Gilmore Girls as Dean's little sister, Clara. Mm-hmm. Not a very well-written character, but memorable nonetheless.
Yep, and she's actually going to show up like 7 more times on Charmed.
She got a recurring gig as a fairy on this show.
Yeah.
I don't think she's always Thistle, but she's always a fairy.
Yeah, she's always a fairy.
And honestly, it's a really good effect they do with this one.
Yeah. She'll be back between seasons 5 and 8. So it'll be a while before we see her again, but she'll be back a few more times. She's mostly done single episodes of shows, but she did have a 7-episode run on Nashville a couple of years ago. So we come back from commercial to Piper coming down a staircase past people hurriedly leaving.
And we hear Phoebe and Prue singing badly the song If You're Happy and You Know It.
Yeah, which is a popular, repetitive American children's song. I will link to the wiki on the website.
Phoebe's apparently upset that the people at the bar aren't singing along and acting with it.
Yeah, and this is when we realize that we are in P3.
Yeah.
It's one of those where Piper coming down the stairs, we didn't necessarily notice it. But as soon as we see the girls are on stage and we see the people at the bar, we realize...
Yeah, they're on stage pretty much sans jackets.
Yeah.
Just at the mic, which is on for some reason.
Yeah. So Phoebe is upset, like we said, that people aren't watching or acting along with the song. And Piper walks up to a woman behind the bar. And we don't actually learn that this character's name is Abby until later, but I figure I'll tell you about her now anyway.
Mm-hmm. She's kind of a that girl.
Yeah.
I recognized her from this, but it wasn't like immediate. I just kind of went, wait a second, I know your face.
Yeah. Her name is Boti or Boti. I'm not completely sure. I'm assuming B-O-T-I. I'm going to say it as Body.
Okay.
But Body Bliss is her name. And
I know. It's very alliterative.
I love that name. She was born in New York in 1975. She started acting in 1994 and seems to still be going strong. She had a pretty nice run of 76 episodes on CSI Miami, so people might recognize her from that. I didn't really watch that show after the first season, so I didn't recognize her.
Yeah. We'll see her again in like 2 episodes. She'll be in the same role.
Yeah.
But that's the only other episode she has on this show. She's just got the 2.
Yeah. So Piper asks what's going on.
And Abby tells her that they've been acting like kids since they got here.
And
they haven't had anything to drink.
Yeah, at least she hasn't given them anything to drink. And then Piper should have heard them singing Frère Jacques, which is a French nursery rhyme song. I will, of course, link to the wiki on the website. Because
Piper kind of hisses at her to put on music and kill that mic.
Yeah.
And then she walks over to her sisters.
And we hear some music start to play, and Piper moves the mic off stage, and she asks if they have lost their minds.
So Phoebe starts to tell her about the fairy in like one of those long run-on sentences that kids do when they're really excited.
Yeah. And then Piper goes to green screen because she freezes the club, asks what ass-backwards spell they cast, which I thought was just a fun phrase.
They tell her that they didn't cast a spell, they used fairy dust.
Yeah, and Piper tells them to go home and reverse it. They decide that they have to show her. Phoebe pulls out a small pouch from her pocket. They get a pinch of fairy dust, and they each throw it in her face. Piper sneezes.
Yeah.
It apparently did not work on her.
It really didn't.
Yeah.
Piper's like, I gotta get back to work. So she turns around, unfreezes everyone.
Yeah, back to green screen.
So, maybe they noticed she turned around, maybe they didn't. But either way, no harm done. And so she walks toward the bar, and Prue and Phoebe follow her.
Yeah, and we get one of the cutest Prue moments.
It's great.
So while Phoebe is calling Piper names, Prue is trying to grab a strand of hair with her tongue.
Yeah, it kind of like fell in front of her mouth, and she's just like tonguing at it.
Yeah, it was adorable. I'm fairly certain that there is a gift set on Tumblr.
I'm sure.
That will show up eventually.
Yeah.
It's great.
Phoebe shows Piper the little key hanging from the gold chain around her neck, and she's
saying
like,
that
Thistle is safe, and
we
have to be back with Kate at midnight when the trolls are gonna attack.
Yeah. Piper tells them to wait outside while she calls a cab to take them home because she doesn't want people to think that she let them drive home while drunk. Phoebe plays with the zipper on her jacket, and Prue starts whining about Piper being mean.
So Phoebe hugs Piper to kiss her on the cheek, and then Prue hugs her, and Piper is like, oh, you're trying to get me to stop my strike. And she's like, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, they let go of her, they walk toward the door, and then they turn around and they stick their tongues out at her.
Really good timing,
too. So beautifully childish.
It was very adorable.
And we cut to Prue walking through a doorway and see Phoebe having to dodge a troll, and then they both land on the ground as the door closes behind them. Prue asks if Phoebe is okay. She says that she is.
But then Whisper shouts that the trolls must know that they have the key.
Yeah. Prue says that this means that the trolls should come after them instead of Kate at midnight, so they have to go home and wait for them. Phoebe agrees, and then they crawl away.
They crawl.
Yeah, like legit crawl away. They don't stand up. They just crawl off screen. It was hilarious to me. Especially since Prue is in white pants.
Yes.
Just saying.
This entire, children acting thing is just fucking adorable from the both of them.
Yeah.
We cut back inside to P3. Piper's kind of futzing around. She finds Leo's Valentine's Day card kind of hidden under the register.
Yeah, that's from episode 213, Animal Pragmatism.
Yeah, and we can see he, in fact, did write out the entire note, or someone from the prop department did. Because it's the entire speech that he gives while they're all, right before they go into slow-mo.
Yep.
Anyway,
so
she
reads it, and then she puts it back under the register, and we time jump over to the manor, where Prue and Phoebe are running through the house complaining about all the doorways.
It's a Victorian. It's what happens.
Indeed. Prue mentions that they'll be able to talk to Kate via walkie-talkies. Now, did you know that those were developed in the Second World War?
I did not.
Yeah. They actually started out as big, bulky things that were placed in like a backpack so they could be carried around.
Like car phones.
Which is where the name walkie-talkie came from, because it was in a backpack so you could walk around with it. I will, of course, link to the wiki on the website because it's pretty neat to read about. And there's even a picture of the original backpack style one that was made. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the girls start up the stairs, but they barely even get to the landing when the doorbell rings. And they kind of whisper to each other and wonder if trolls know about doorbells.
Yeah. They cautiously walk up to the door, and Phoebe opens it to Cole, bent over at the waist like he was trying to look through the keyhole.
Or the mail slot or something.
Yeah. He's added a tan trench coat to his outfit.
Yeah, and he's kind of got this quasi-embarrassed look on his face.
Yeah.
Like, you caught me in a compromising position, but I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah. Phoebe calls out his name, and he stands up, seemingly surprised that they're home. Phoebe leans forward near the doorway. Prue reminds her about the tween space and pulls her back.
And Phoebe, still acting like a total child, mind you,
Uh-huh.
tells Cole that they were supposed to meet at the club.
Yeah.
And he apologizes because it's been a long day. Prue tells him to close the door behind him, and then they yell bye and start to run off.
Yeah. And he gets their attention, and they stop, and they turn around, and they, like, lean against each other.
Uh-huh. Like back to back.
Yeah. And he asks to use the washroom. And we get the most childish scene where Phoebe asks, number 1 or number 2?
She got a size as she's doing this, and then Prue laughs, and she's like, he has to go tootie.
And it was just hilarious, because Cole seems very confused, and Phoebe tells him that he can come in, but he has to be very fast.
Very, very fast.
Yeah.
And so we jump ahead a bit, and we see Cole locking the bathroom door.
Yep.
He kind of looks up at the ceiling and shimmer and disappears, and then reappears in the attic, and he sees the Book of Shadows.
And we cut to Phoebe and Prue standing in the hallway.
Right outside the bathroom door, mind you.
Yeah. Prue is holding the walkie-talkie. She's calling for Kate, and we cut to Kate, because, can't stay in one place too long. She's standing in her room, clutching the box, looking very frightened because she can hear the trolls, and she's added a yellow vest
Like a
to
fleece
her outfit.
vest.
Yeah. Prue tells Kate that the dust didn't work on Piper. Kate says that means that she doesn't believe, that she's scared, and there are shadows everywhere, and it's almost midnight, which makes me wonder a little bit why Cole was going to be meeting Phoebe, or why Phoebe was going to be meeting Cole at the club at midnight. But
Or just very, very late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
knows? They never actually specified a time.
Yeah. And
he did say it had been a long day.
Yes. It's also one of those where if it's almost midnight, why is he coming to the house?
Yeah, I don't know, because he figures they'll at least be there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really care either.
Anyway.
Phoebe tells her that the trolls know that they have the key, so she doesn't have to worry. But Kate's like, dude, they're still fucking here.
Yeah, I can hear them. Prue reminds her that as long as they have the key, that Thistle is safe, and she tells Kate to turn on all the lights to make the shadows disappear.
And it was very cute, good advice.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut back to the attic as Cole walks around that stand, and he reaches for the Book of Shadows, but it kind of glows and flies off the stand and onto the floor.
Yeah.
Or at least the triquetra on it glows and it flies.
Yeah. And then Cole turns into a demon with a red face, with like swirly black line details and sharp-looking teeth and pointed ears, and I'd kind of forgotten.
And bald.
Yeah, completely bald, and I'd kind of forgotten about the pointed ears.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's also like changed outfits.
This demon form is in all black.
With a mandarin collar, kind of like a priest.
Yeah.
Irony. But without the little white
without the what's it called?
Collar.
Like the frock. I can't think of the word.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I call it a tab.
Yeah, without the white bit.
The white tab.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's someone else clearly playing the demon version of Cole.
Yeah, and since we're going to be seeing him again over the course of Cole's run, let me tell you about the actor. It is a spoiler that we know the name of the demon, because we don't actually learn it until the next episode. So I'm not going to reveal that until next episode.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm me.
Well, he's in the credits.
Yes.
Spelled very interestingly. I didn't think it was spelled like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, but we don't actually learn the name until next episode, so you'll learn the name with us next episode. Cole's Demon Sad is played by Michael Bailey Smith. He started acting in 1989. He's still going strong. He has mostly done single episodes of shows, with Charmed being the only show that he had more than 2 episodes on, including an episode of Buffy, where he played a demon named Toth.
Yes,
Toth. Season 5.
Rhymes with Hoth.
Yeah, Season 5, Episode 3, The Replacement.
That's the episode where Toth creates a Xander double, and Nicholas Brendan's twin brother Kelly played the double.
Yeah. So, it's an interesting thought that this was the only show that he had more than 2 episodes on.
Yeah, and he doesn't really
even
get to talk much.
Yeah. And
he spends it in extremely thick makeup.
Yeah.
Like Blue Man Group thick.
Yeah. Anyway,
he reaches for the book again, and it kind of slides along the floor.
Yeah,
and he just growls. Like a very loud growl.
Yeah, and we cut back to Prue and Phoebe, who hear the growl and think that it's trolls.
So naturally, they bust in the door with a hi-ya! Which we see from the other side in the attic.
Yeah. Phoebe turns on the light, and they see this red-skinned demon.
And we see that Prue was wielding her shoes like weapons, like she was going to throw them at him.
Yeah, it was very funny. He turns to see them, and then he shimmers and disappears.
And Phoebe's like, wow, that was a very big troll.
And Prue is like, no, that was a demon, not a troll. Phoebe is, of course, confused as to how trolls are playing out in this story.
Yeah.
And Prue says that he was after the Book of Shadows.
She goes over to grab the book and put it back on the stand.
And Phoebe says that they can't worry about the demon because they have to go to Kate. And then she goes to leave. And Prue makes a noise, causing Phoebe to stop and turn around, thereby making her stand in the middle of the doorway.
And a troll jumps down her shirt.
Yeah, and there's a fun little moment of something jumping around underneath her shirt, which makes me wonder how they did that without making her feel violated.
Oh, they definitely just framed the shot so you couldn't see the bottom of her shirt and had someone move their hand around.
Yeah, but again, it's that how do you film that without making someone feel violated?
You let them pick the person.
Because it's
who knows? Maybe Shannon was doing it.
Who knows?
Maybe they had Holly doing it. I don't know. Was she still dating Brian Krause at this point? Maybe they had him do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so we see a tiny little hand.
Some random key grip might have done it. Who knows?
Speaking of key grip,
yeah,
we see a tiny little hand come up and grab the key from around her neck.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Holly Combs' boyfriend.
No. I was not. I was going to say we have a troll hand gripping a key.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you went literal.
I did.
Yeah.
I did indeed. But so this is why I lovingly say she has that slit in her shirt so that we could see the key being taken.
Uh-huh.
Because without that slit, we wouldn't have been able to.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, troll jumps out of Phoebe's shirt, and then another one pulls the rug up in front of Prue's foot, making her trip on that rug. She falls into Phoebe.
And they both tumble down the stairs and land on the second floor. That is a long fall.
It is a very long fall around a corner. Phoebe, now no longer speaking or acting like a child, realizes that the trolls got the key. And Cole walks out of the bathroom and asks if they're okay.
And they kind of, at first, are looking up at him like, are we in trouble?
Yeah. And then we cut to a commercial break. We come back to Prue and Phoebe rushing Cole down the stairs toward the front door. And he asks again if they're okay, and they say that they are. And he says that they seem different, and Phoebe questions him. And he says that they seem to be acting a bit drunk before.
So Prue's genius line is that stairs can be sobering.
Yeah. Phoebe apologizes about their plans not working out, and she opens the door for him. And he says that he'll keep trying to make plans with her, and he leaves. And she closes the door.
And then turns on Prue and asks why she chose that particular phrase.
Yeah. And Prue says, was she supposed to tell him that an unknown demon came in to try to steal their magic book, and then little trolls came and pushed them down the stairs?
Yeah, Phoebe realizes she's right, and then wonders why they're now thinking like grown-ups again.
And Prue says that it must have been from the trauma of the attack, and realizes that they wouldn't be able to protect Kate as kids anyway, so it's probably a good thing.
Uh-huh. You know, that or just wore off.
Yeah. Phoebe goes to open the door to go to Kate, but Prue heads back upstairs. Phoebe's confused, but she closes the door and follows Prue. And we cut to the attic.
And Prue and Phoebe walk in, and Prue runs over to the book. And Phoebe's like, wait, aren't we going to Kate? Like, you didn't find anything in the book about trolls. But Prue's like, you know what? We could Frankenstein together a couple of spells and make something that will work so we can actually see the trolls, because if we can't see them, we can't stop them.
Yeah, so she thinks that they can combine the to see what can't be seen spell with the one to cultivate innocence, as well as the power of 3 spell, and it might just work.
She tells Phoebe to call Piper, and Phoebe doesn't really get that because Piper's still on the picket line. And Prue tells her that the trolls are too fast, they need someone to freeze them.
Yeah, so she says that while they wanted her help before, now they actually need it.
Mm-hmm. So Phoebe heads toward the door, and Prue reminds her to watch out while going through doorways because trolls won't stop coming after them.
Yeah. And Phoebe, murmurs a positive response, and she runs through the doorway very quickly. It was kind of funny.
Very cute.
We jump over to P3 with no exterior shot, as Piper is placing some wine glasses on a tray, and she walks toward the bar as something trips her. We are assuming it's a troll.
Yeah, they do this really nice little camera move where they just stick a camera down by the floor and they kind of run with it while tilting it a little bit. So,
yeah, it's kind of like cat cam.
Yeah.
You know, everything is seen from the imagery of something
like you stick
crawling
a
on the ground.
GoPro to your border collie or something.
Yeah. So,
or corgi. It's about that height.
Yeah. So she gets tripped, she drops the tray, the glasses fall to the ground with a shatter, and as she bends down to pick up the glass, she cuts her finger.
Apparently also the troll's doing.
Mm-hmm. Abby walks over to Piper holding the phone, saying that her sister is calling. Piper takes the phone and she tries to tell Abby not to worry about the glass, that she'll clean it up, but Abby bends down and starts cleaning it up anyway. Like a good employee.
I know. I didn't see her walk over with a rag or anything, so I'm just like, are you literally just brushing glass with your hands? This is a bad idea.
Yeah, it was kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
Piper walks up to the bar, she wraps a napkin around her finger, and she answers the phone with a few jokes about them being childish and asking if they need a diaper change or if the tooth fairy is going to come harass them for not flossing.
It was nice. Very cutting. And we cut back and forth between Piper and Phoebe during the call, and Phoebe tells her that we're not trying to get you to believe in fairies, but we were trying to take your mind off of Leo. And she apologizes for that, and she's like, we really need your help with the trolls. They want to hurt a 7-year-old, and that ain't good.
Yeah. Piper asks if there was a troll at P3, which Phoebe says that there was, and Piper agrees to come home because she realizes that the trolls are fucking with her.
Yeah, she ends up hanging up on Phoebe before Phoebe can tell her to stay out of the tween places.
Yeah.
So Piper grabs her purse and looks for the keys, but when she can't find them, she turns to Abby and she's like, hey, have you seen them?
Abby says that they should be on the hook, which doesn't seem very secure to me, but who am I to judge?
I mean, if there's always someone behind the bar, they're going to notice if someone comes back there.
I guess, but
And how are they going to know whose car they belong to until they get them outside anyway, at which point they would have noticed the person who's been behind the bar is making a beeline for the doorway.
I guess so. It was just weird to me that why would you put your keys on a hook at the bar? Why wouldn't you put your stuff in the office?
I don't know.
Anyway, whatever. Piper turns around and knocks into some bottles, breaking at least one of them. Then Abby comes running around the bar to help clean it up, and Piper goes looking for the spare key in the register.
And just as she finds it, a troll closes it on her fingers.
Yeah. Piper asks Abby to close the club for her, and she thanks her and walks away, and she leaves the register open just a bit.
Just a bit.
Because
I assume Abby will get that, though.
Yeah, because it closed on her finger, and she didn't bother closing it any further than that. We cut to outside as Piper seems to get pushed out the door, and she kind of looks back at the door like, you motherfucker. It was kind of funny. And there's now a large plaque on the wall that looks like the now appearing sign, but it doesn't have the words now appearing on top of it, and it's filled with pictures.
And there's also a couple of cars parked weirdly close to the door.
Yeah. It's very, very odd.
Yeah, but Piper walks out into the parking lot, and a troll trips her, so she goes flying around in a circle before falling on the ground in the middle of a conveniently placed circle of light.
Yeah. All of her stuff falls out of her purse, and she gets to her knees to start picking up her things. And she looks up at the sky, which is shown as a very lovely starscape, which I really don't think you'd be able to see from San Francisco, but whatever.
Even if it weren't for the fog, there's smog, so...
Well, and there's freaking streetlights.
Yep. Light pollution.
Yeah.
There's two actually, well, I wouldn't consider Mother Nature to be a form of pollution, but it's definitely not going to help you see anything.
Anyway.
Yeah. She kind of starts making cracks up at the sky, talking to the powers that be.
Being pissy that they've sent trolls to kick her while she's down.
And she tells them that even though they've taken her boyfriend and her life, they could at least leave her car keys.
Yeah. A couple walks past her, but she
Or
barely
her
pauses.
dignity.
Yeah, she barely pauses before she continues, saying that she's a good person and a good witch, and she would have made a great wife.
And then she tells them that she's not leaving the spot until they give Leo back.
Yeah, like she demands Leo back, and then we get a lovely shot of the stars again, and nothing happens.
Yeah, she looks around, she kind of sighs.
Yeah. We jump over to the manor as we pan up on the clock that shows that it is 11:54 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to the transcript for figuring that out for me. Prue and Phoebe are wondering where Piper is because it is super close to midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Phoebe wonders if they can do the spell without her, but Prue says that it won't work because she used the Power of 3 spell and wonders if they can rewrite the spell in the next 6 minutes.
Oh, come on, people.
Yeah. Just then, Piper walks in, apologizing for being late. They ask if she's okay, but she doesn't seem to be very open to the whole thing.
Piper says that she's as open as she's going to get before midnight.
Yeah, and they all read from the piece of paper, and here is the spell. In this tween time, this darkest hour, we call upon the sacred power. 3 together stand alone, command the unseen to be shown. In innocence we search the skies, enchanted are our newfound eyes.
Phoebe kind of leans over to Prue and tells her to lay off the rhyming.
Mm-hmm. Prue says that they're heading over to Kate's and tells Piper to freeze her parents so that they can get past them. Piper says fine, and they kind of walk off.
Mm-hmm. And we cut over to an exterior shot of that same big white house.
Yep. And it looks like all of the lights are on, which is a bit confusing because if her parents don't believe her and it's almost midnight, why would the entire house be lit up? Just saying. Like, I understand one room, if her room was lit up, I could get that. But why the entire house?
Dunno.
Anyway, Kate is standing in the middle of her room, clutching the box and holding the walkie-talkie, and she no longer has the clip in her hair.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
Anyway,
she's
we
still
get it.
wearing the same outfit, but no
Yeah.
longer having the clip.
We get a few insert shots of that creepy-ass Garfield clock as it slowly ticks toward midnight.
And as soon as it clicks over, we see trolls appearing all over the room, and they fly around Kate trying to pull the box from her hands. And the girls come in, and the trolls start attacking them, even though they can't see them. And then the trolls fly around them, and they push them into the hallway and shut the door before knocking the box out of Kate's hands.
And it kind of gets pulled or shoved under the bed, so Kate calls out for Phoebe.
Yeah, and we cut over to the hallway, and the girls are wondering why the spell didn't work.
So Prue just kind of uses her power and slams open the door. And they get in just as they see the trolls drag Kate under the bed.
Yeah.
Screaming.
She cries out for help, and then the trolls knock down an entire shelf that was filled with toys.
Like a metal shelf, too.
Yeah. And so we cut under the bed as a troll throws some dust on Kate, turning her into a fairy.
And we get a lovely shot of her being glowy and wearing a harness and flying.
Yeah, and these lovely little yellow wings to go with the yellow vest over her white shirt. And
Very cute, very cute.
We can see she's wearing jeans. And they take her away just as the girls look under the bed, and all they see is the jewelry box, the gold necklace with the key,
And some glittery dust on the ground.
Yeah, and we cut to commercial break. We come back a few moments after we left as the girls have turned Kate's bed over and still found nothing. Phoebe realizes that the trolls may have turned Kate into a fairy because she sees the dust, which is basically just glitter, all over the floor. Prue wonders why, and Phoebe says that it may be punishment for taking Thistle.
She picks up the box and she's trying to get a premonition.
Prue doesn't understand why their spell didn't work, and Piper says that it's her fault.
So Prue tries to do the big sister thing and console her. But she says that she never meant to hurt Kate, but she's not sure how she's supposed to believe in anything when Leo's gone.
Yeah. Phoebe is upset because she can't get a premonition when she wants one. Prue tells her to focus. She says that she's trying. And Piper, who has been trying to get their attention, finally gets them to see the male fairy by the window.
It was played by a little boy.
Yeah.
Phoebe wonders what it wants, and Prue's like, well, it
We
probably
should
wants
follow
us. Yeah, let's follow that thing.
So according to IMDb, this actor is Jake Dinwiddie.
Which is a perfect fairy name.
He was born in 1987. He started acting in 1998, and he hasn't done anything since 2009. He will show up again in this show as a fairy in seasons 7 and 8.
Probably again with the girl playing Thistle.
Yep.
We get a quick insert shot of a full moon.
Which shouldn't be a thing a week after an eclipse.
Nope.
But, whatever.
Oh wells. Prue, Piper, and Phoebe are following the fairy into a bit of wooded path, and it's a very urban area wooded path.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
It's like the fucking prairie path.
It's like the garden in her backyard.
Kinda.
That's what that seemed like to me, was they have because they are rich, they have a lot of property, and there's a garden in the backyard. That's
rare for San Francisco.
Yeah, a little bit.
They approach what honestly just looks like a weirdly shaped tree making a bit of an archway, but they call it a cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, they approach the cave, the fairy flies away, and Phoebe recognizes the cave from one of Kate's drawings, and I'm like, how?
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is that the fairy dude stops at the entrance to this cave, looks both ways, and then flies off. And Prue says that he must have gotten scared off. He didn't look scared.
No.
At all whatsoever. Just saying.
No, this was kind of bad writing.
Yeah, this was not the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not the best bit of
no
screenwriting.
No. Anyway, they walk into the quote-unquote cave and hide behind a rock.
Yeah. And we see Kate and Thistle locked in a cage hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah. From afar, there's clearly just two very dim pinpricks of light.
Yeah.
And when you're on the close-up, you see them all special effected out in their little harnesses floating around.
Yep.
With a fan on somewhere, presumably.
And we see a troll placing branches underneath the cage while another troll is banging rocks together to try and make a fire.
Yeah, I really like the way that they shot this sequence because they don't show the trolls and the girls at the same time, for the most part.
Yeah.
They just show the trolls, so they don't have to do any special green screen work. They're just like, oh yeah, they're tiny, and we'll just find really big branches for them to hold so it'll look like they're twigs from far away, whatever.
Yeah. So, as the fire roars to life, Prue asks if Piper thinks she can freeze them from where they are.
But then there's some trolls behind them that attack them.
Yeah, they start screaming, alerting the other trolls that they're there. Prue yells at Piper to freeze them, and Piper says that they're too fast.
But as one heads straight for her face, she's able to freeze it.
Yeah.
So Prue kind of moves it into the fire, and it burns with this burst of blue glitter.
Yeah, it was like a blue flamey glitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phoebe jumps up and levitates, asks Prue for help. Prue uses her power and flies Phoebe over to the cage. Because while Phoebe can levitate, she can't actually do anything except levitate.
Correct.
Yeah. She unhooks the cage and then lands back on the ground.
Prue tells Piper to run, and when Piper asks where, Prue drags her toward this magically bigger fire and tells her to freeze the flames. So she does. They jump over, and then she unfreezes them when they're back on the other side. Just as all of the trolls run through the fire. And every one of them turns into a slightly different colored glittery flame.
Yeah. It was all shades of blue, though.
Yeah. One was like kind of green.
Was it?
I think so.
Well, I have a thing where I can't really see the difference between blues and greens unless I stare at them long enough.
Uh-huh.
So...
Yeah, anyway, that very handily took care of all of the trolls. Phoebe lets Kate and Thistle out of the cage, and they kind of start to just fucking fly away.
Yeah, but Phoebe calls after them, and they stop, and Prue asks if Thistle knows how to turn Kate back into a person.
But Kate shakes her head no.
Phoebe tells Kate that she can't stay a fairy or her mom will be very sad.
And Piper gets to have this really touching moment where she tells Kate that her parents didn't split up to hurt her. And, you know, you may not know the reason that things happen the way they do, but you have to believe it's for the best.
Even if it doesn't feel that way. Yeah. She then asks Kate if Kate remembers how sad she was when her dad left, and Kate nods. And Piper says that that's how sad everyone will be if she doesn't come home.
So now she looks at Thistle and nods to her. So Thistle grabs some fairy dust out of, I guess, the air or whatever, and blows it at her and turns her back into a human.
Prue hugs Piper, and Phoebe goes over and hugs Kate and gives her a kiss on the forehead. It was a slightly weird...
Yeah, a little weird for a kid you barely know.
Yeah.
But...
And then we cut over to an exterior night shot of the manor. So we are now cutting to later on.
Yeah. Prue, Piper, and Phoebe all walk through the front door. They look
very, very sore and very tired, and they decide
there are some owls happening.
Yeah, they decide that they're going to go straight to bed, and just as Prue closes the doorbell rings.
Like, literally.
Like, instantaneously.
And so they open it back up, and there's a bunch of bouquets of flowers lying on the porch.
Yeah, there's a few bouquets, a garland, and a head wreath.
Uh-huh.
And Prue bends it down and picks up her keys and realizes that the fairies are saying thank you with the flowers.
So they all take them and bring them inside.
And
Prue
Piper
kind of grabs the garland, and
Yeah.
Piper puts the wreath of flowers on her head.
And she kind of looks around smiling. It was so cute. And Prue and Phoebe look at her and then they try to say something. And Piper takes the flowers back off her head and she says that she thinks she's starting to understand. And they walk into the living room and they sit down. And she goes on a small monologue about how hard it would be to be married to a white lighter, which results in her breaking down into tears about almost losing Kate and coming to the conclusion that she's willing to sacrifice being with Leo to make sure that never happens again.
And then she walks out of the room to go up the stairs. And Leo orbs in on the stairs.
And startles her. He is in a white t-shirt under an orange checked button down. It's kind of a nice outfit. I liked it.
Yeah, she asks him if she's dreaming, and he says no. She tells him about the dream, and then realizes, wait a second, that wasn't a dream, was it? And he's like, no.
Not so much.
Because apparently they forbid him to ever see her again.
Yeah. Phoebe and Prue walk in, and he tells Piper that whatever she said or did made them realize that she had great courage and great faith, enough to make them reconsider. Phoebe, of course, asks if that means they can get married, which makes Prue give her a look.
Yeah, and Leo's like,
no.
no.
I just want to know.
Yeah, Leo's like, no, we need to prove that our relationship won't get in the way of work, which Phoebe refers to as probation.
Yeah. Basically, they can be together as long as no innocents get hurt because they're distracted by each other.
Uh-huh.
They say that they won't get distracted by each other, and Piper immediately grabs Leo's hand and they head upstairs.
They just finished saving an innocent. I think they get a little distraction now.
Yeah, they have a little bit of a smile. Phoebe asks if Prue is worried, and Prue says that she's always worried, but she's happy that Leo is back.
And they both remember that there's an unknown, unattractive demon on the loose.
Yeah,
as Phoebe puts it. And Prue's like, yeah, we'll tell them about that tomorrow. They deserve a night of worry-free romance.
Yeah. So then we have our final scene of the episode where we jump a bit in time to Cole sitting in his office.
Feet on the desk.
Yeah. Reading the Phoebe dossier. And his phone rings. So he puts down the folder to answer it.
And it's Phoebe calling at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Surprised that he's in the office. She was just going to leave a message, apparently. And so there's a little bit more flirting. And
he basically says that he's looking forward to figuring out the mystery that she is.
And that he'll call her later.
Yeah.
She promises to answer, hangs up,
and then falls backwards on the couch with a smile.
And the best part is that we cut back to his office, and he jumps up to say, yes! And he kind of turns his face a little bit because you see the outline of his shadow on the wall, and he tells the shadow to let them,
probably meaning the triad,
know that he's getting closer.
Yeah. And the shadow disappears into an air vent, and Cole sits back down in his chair, and we go to the end credits.
Uh-huh.
So, with the end credits arriving, that means we are at our ratings.
Uh-huh.
Would you like to go first?
Sure. I'm going to give this 7 out of 10 bathroom B&Es.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like being alliterative. You know me.
And I am giving it 7.5 out of 10 creepy Garfield clocks.
Yep.
Because, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my first 0.5 of the season. So we shall see if I get another one. That means we're on to our outfits.
Woo! I really loved Prue's outfit.
Which one?
The mint green
Yeah,
thing with the ruffles.
with the white pants.
Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. I'd probably put that one as my favorite for Prue.
Mm.
For Piper, I actually kind of really liked the brown turtleneck that she was wearing in the first dream sequence.
It was not bad.
Yeah, and
The hair was like weird but good.
Yeah, and like of all of the other outfits, that was actually my favorite, and all it was we saw the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
For Phoebe, I also liked her first outfit, the blue hoodie over the black clothes.
Yeah.
It was classic.
Indeed.
Yeah. So that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done with the
Time
episode.
for social media plugs.
Yay! So, as per always, you can find all of the links and stuff at charmchats.com. You can email us at charmchats@gmail.com.
And you can always send any queries, comments, whatever you like, through email or to our Twitter or Tumblr, which are both Charm Chats Pod.
I would say if you want to send something, send it to Twitter or email, because I don't really check the Tumblr very much.
No.
I apologize. And as always, you can find us on Facebook, which is the other place that you can message us, and I will get back to you very quickly.
Very, very quickly.
And if you want to support our podcast and help us out with a little donation, you can head on over to patreon.com/charmchats and donate that way and help us out.
Mm-hmm.
We have a new patron.
Yeah!
Yay! We have a lovely patron named Warren who pledged at the $1 tier. So we appreciate Warren very, very much.
Mm-hmm. Blue sends his shivers.
Indeed. So, on that note, we shall shout your name into the ether. Warren!
We fell off the cliff, guys.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to see lots of pictures of Blue being adorable, head over to our Instagram, which is just Charm Chats.
Yes.
And I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
So, until next time.
Sleep tight. Don't let the warlocks bite. Or the creepy, unattractive demons.
Mm-hmm. Bye!
Bye!
Phoebe, Piper, and Prue, they've got evil to slay and some potions to brew. So we'll see where it's at next time with Kendra and Kat on Charm Chats.